Yeah, here. We're fine. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Get in the Garage.
We're a music podcast.
For music lovers, I'm Mike, here with
I'm Luke.
Luke. We have the train whistle back, finally, after the much-requested train whistle. Only really by us, but nobody else really asked for the train whistle back.
The train whistle is not the content you wanted. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The train whistle is here. I don't know if it's made it to the video yet, but the train whistle is here to call bullshit, to end the long ramblings.
Yeah. When the conversation goes off the rails.
Yes, we...
Yeah, we rein it back in.
Yeah, we'll rein it back in, bring it back on track.
We hitch up to the caboose and pull you back.
And then when we leave the show, we'll give you a timely exit and a good old hootenanny for you.
Yeah.
I make the boys throw on the coal, and we really get it hopping.
Yeah, right. So today, there's a couple of different topics that we were interested in covering.
Murder Your Thirst.
Murder Your Thirst. And I thought that I would hand it off to Luke for the first, because where you want to cover this first.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you, Michael, about you have a son.
I do.
You know, and I saw this great video the other day on my day off. It was Kevin Parker from the band Tame Impala, and he was performing their hit song Elephant, or more of like an underground indie classic at this point. Yeah. That good old Psych Fuzz revolution.
I like Tame Impala. They're from, I don't know, did you mention it? They're from Australia.
I did not actually, I know that.
They're an Australian band.
Really?
Yeah, they're Aussies.
So he's more of a Kevin Parker.
Kevin Parker.
Oh, I like that.
Come on in, Kevin Parker. It goes Boston too sometimes. It's a tough one.
Where are the Wiggles from?
I think they're English.
Well, here we go.
They might. I don't quote me on it, but I believe they're Brits.
Yes, because he performed that song Elephant with the Wiggles live on stage.
A great performance, by the way. We literally just watched it.
It's tremendous. I highly recommend anybody to watch it. If you're a Tame Impala fan, you've probably already seen it, but it's just
oh, they're Australian too, the Wiggles.
Oh, there it is. It's that Aussie love.
Yep.
But I think it's really cool because like the song Elephant is like, it's really like a psych rock classic at this point, you know, of the, you know, that new like movement that kind of came across. And the Wiggles take this song and they kind of like, at least the live version, there's two versions of it. They did one on the like a radio station, like a live with full band drums, but the one that's live in concert in front of all the kids is like there's no drums. It's just a clean guitar. Kevin Parker comes out and he's just really he like just plays it like clean, and it becomes way more haunting than you ever would have imagined it would have been.
Can I tell you, I'm just reading this now for the first time.
Yeah.
The cover reached #1 on the annual Triple J Hottest 100 poll for 2021.
Yeah, that's that radio station.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
I thought it might have been.
If you watch the Wiggles clip from them playing it on the radio station,
the Australian youth radio station. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what it is. It's more of like a KEXP like we have over in Portland, but so like they come in and like they just did this song, and I guess Tame Impala saw them do the cover, and they kind of worked together, and then they got to do it live in front of all the kids in front of like a Wiggles show. But it just came across like so haunting because there's no drums and the guitar is clean.
Yeah,
so,
it's like Sergeant Pepper-y almost at times.
Yeah, it's like
it's like Octopus's Garden-esque.
Especially
it's like he's
boom 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 boom.
Yeah, that stuff like and it's like they're in like these elephant masks and stuff, and they're kind of like lumbering around and stuff in the background. Like it's really
Yeah, there's people like dancing, but there's no drums, so it's like crazy to see people dancing to no drums.
Yeah, that is a weird.
Right? It's like it's like unsettling. It's so cool.
It is really unsettling though, because you think, oh, at some point the drums are going to kick in, and they just never do.
No.
So you're like kind of like you feel a little uncomfortable about it. Like you're kind of like, ooh, it makes you feel a little tight, But it's
very
like,
good.
It's like brilliant. It's stupid how like brilliant it is,
Yeah, because like you wouldn't think of like the Wiggles to do anything that like has like, Wiggles make little kid fun music, not
right.
But you're like, oh, that's somewhat haunting. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like any of the children in the audience are enthused at all that this is happening.
I would imagine that the minute that they kick into Fruit Salad, the kids are probably like, oh, okay, finally, a song I know. And then they only just play like the chorus from it. And then they go back into Elephant. You're like, wait a minute.
Well, that's the cool thing. They mix it with
calls
fruit
it out
salad.
too.
Yeah, it's like fruit salad. So like, and then it just goes back to yeah. It's a very cool cover. I just thought it was interesting to bring to the forefront here, and a little bit. It was fun. It was fun. You should definitely check it out. If you have kids, you should definitely have them watch it. It's a good moment you could have.
Yeah.
Crossing generations, crossing lines.
Yeah. Speaking of, so to move the conversation forward, speaking of live performances, that in contrast I felt a little bit underwhelmed by was, and this is kind of old-ish news, I think this happened like a week and a half, 2 weeks, maybe like 2 weeks ago, more like, but Machine Gun Kelly goes on Howard Stern's show and he performs the System of a Down song Ariels.
I don't want to interrupt you, but this cookie was a big mistake.
Yeah, what are you doing?
It's like...
Well, you better get to murdering that thirst. Yeah. There you go.
Please continue about Machine Gun Kelly performing the song Ariels on the Howard Stern program.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I watched it. And I had some conflicting sort of feelings about it in the way where it's just like, well, some of my favorite bands have been bands that change and morph into different things, and like, oh, this is so-and-so's period, and this is so-and-so's period. You know what I mean?
Well, a band you just referenced, the Beatles.
Yeah, right, exactly, the Beatles, yeah. So that's why, like, I look at it, I don't know, I think it's just because I respect the leap, but did he stick the landing? I just don't know.
Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah.
Does he stick the landing? So, here's his pop punk material. I find it to be not that bad, and this is why.
I'm not a huge listener, mind you. I'm like a novice when it comes to Machine Gun Kelly himself.
Well,
I've heard stuff. But.
Let's get down to the nitty gritty here, because like I think that pop punk is kind of for kids, kind of not kids, but it's for like teen.
Yeah, it's for younger people, though, young adults.
Young adults. He's 32. It's got like a pop punk kind of has this like childlike Warped Tour. It's Blink-182 running naked in the streets. Got the frat boy connotations to it. So I feel like his pop punk music isn't that off from because he was like a Warped Tour rapper,
Yeah, so he had more of like an edge to him. It wasn't like traditional rap.
I feel like he came up with like the 303s of the world. Remember 303?
No, I don't remember 303.
Yeah, you do. They sang the Helen Keller song. Shake your lips, do the Helen Keller, and talk with your hips. You don't remember that band?
I think I do. I don't know.
They were huge.
I'll have to listen to the song. I'm sure I would recognize it if I actually heard it.
Huge when I was in high school.
Yeah.
So I think he came up with like the kind of pop rap, even though, you know what I mean? Even though it's like, it wasn't really. So to that, I think he's also part of the generation where everything is everything. So
yeah, that's true.
Because like he's performing with Willow Smith now a lot. Like she's in like one of his like pop punk songs. I think the song's called Emo Girl.
Okay. That sounds familiar.
But Willow Smith was like, when I was in high school, back when he was like starting rapping, she was like, I whip my hair back.
Yeah, see, I remember.
I remember
and
it was like really like dancey hip hop music.
Yeah.
Right? Where now even Willow Smith, I heard a Willow Smith song on a TikTok the other day, and I was like, oh, where it's more structured out, melodic, somewhat based in the Beatles, right? In some kind of way, not saying that she sounds like the Beatles. Let's not We're talking about Machine Gun Kelly here.
Yeah.
While we have a wall of Aerosmith behind us.
I know. Don't worry. The dots will connect at some point tonight.
Get your wings.
Get your wings.
But yeah, so I feel like he kind of has he's in that thing, but here's the deal. Do you feel like, because here's the direct comparison is, did you listen to, I can't think, Post Malone during the COVID lockdown play all those Nirvana songs?
No, I didn't hear him do that. That sounds good.
I think Travis Barker was on drums for that as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And he stuck the landing.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah.
But he just did like a set of them and then walked away and didn't really, you know what I mean? It was like a toe dip, but like, you know?
Yeah. But to speak to Post Malone real quick, the dude can play guitar.
Yes.
Like, he knows how to play guitar.
Yeah, he's a guitar player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a very good guitar player.
So here's like watching the Ariels thing. Like, I've listened to the Machine Gun Kelly pop punk stuff. It's not bad. It is of the genre. Is it a high watermark of the genre of a big fan? I don't think so.
Yeah.
It might be, but like, you know, it doesn't come across to me as something like that. I think a high watermark of the genre is something that if you listen to it as an adult and you had never heard it before, you would still enjoy it as much as you did in your youth, kind of thing.
Okay.
Right? Because,
yeah, that's fair.
Because, like, you know, like sometimes you like a band in youth and you still like them, but you know it's not adult music anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course.
Right.
Yeah, because it's like you can only be.
Yes.
Like,
but,
you know, I know. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Well, let's
jot something down.
Yeah, let's table that for a second.
Oh
here.
my goodness, my microphone.
But but we're getting down to like, it's not like it passes as great as good pop punk music. It's not bad. I think it's fun. I think it's great that Travis Barker is producing. That's all cool with me. Those are fine. I don't think the changing genres in his case is a big deal because he comes across, he pulls it off on the pop punk front, I think.
Yeah, I'll say this to circle it back around to Machine Gun Kelly. I just think he made the wrong song choice.
Well,
I don't think that.
I fully agree.
Okay.
Because
it's System of a Down, man. Serj Tankian, like his voice is so specifically like, because I think they're from Lebanon, I think, or Albania maybe, or something. I'm sorry. Jesus.
If you're just listening, Mike pulled the mic stand right out the table.
I'm trying to adjust my microphone.
Yeah, I gave you the crap one.
But the thing is that like he can hit those like crazy notes and scales of like Eastern Europe. You know what I mean? And it's like you get this dude like Machine Gun Kelly trying to come out like
they tuned it down, right?
I think they tuned it down, but he didn't go up. He didn't go to it. He was like, fuck it, let me go for broke, and I'm gonna try to like make it my own thing.
That's what I appreciated about
it. Yeah, I appreciate that quality too.
Here's
but
the deal.
I was like, I just didn't like it. I guess.
Here's the deal. Before he played it, what did he say?
I saw bits of of an interview.
Oh, because right before he played it, he goes, "We're just gonna jam this out. It's just a jam." He is trying to let you know that it's not fully baked. But then in that course too, come fully baked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have the industry at your, you know what I mean, come fully baked.
Yeah.
So that's that in that statement too. Like, you're on the Howard Stern show, you're gonna do a cool cover. Like, there's been a lot of cool covers coming through there lately. The Metallica, Miley Cyrus thing. You know, like there's a lot of bands that are coming through there, and actually, Howard seems to be more moving in the direction of interviewing bands and having them play, because those are the clips I see popping for him.
Yeah.
But so the Ariels cover though, I think I liked what I liked about it is like the acousticness of it. Like the drummer was playing the shaker, and like with the other hand it went like this. But that was cool. Let's talk about the cigarette.
Oh, because he's smoking a cigarette the whole time?
If you're trying to hit them high notes, bro.
Yeah, that's not gonna help you.
I love smoking cigarettes.
I know. No.
So before
I know. So do I.
Before I say what I'm gonna say. I love smoking cigarettes. I love watching Dave Chappelle
smoke cigarettes.
Yeah. I love watching Keith Richards smoke cigarettes. They're not good for you, and you shouldn't smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, I agree.
But I mean,
or vape. Vaping's bad too.
yeah, vaping's bad too. Like, you know, it is what it is. But you know, it does look cool. So, you know, it's that whole thing. But
I find it's like a callback. Like a cigarette's almost a callback.
I felt
to
like there was, because when it started, I went, oh, he's vaping. That's kind of cool that he doesn't give a shit that he's just gonna vape, you know.
Yeah.
But then I saw that he had a full cigarette in his hand inside, and I was like,
See, this is where I go. If you stuck the landing on the vocals, it would have made the cigarette even cooler. You know what I'm trying to say?
The vocal, it wasn't a strong vocal delivery.
It wasn't a strong vocal delivery, and that's
for
okay.
This too,
Not
every vocal needs to be a knockout vocal, but this is where it was lacking for me. I feel like we're getting in the nitty gritty of it here.
Yeah, of course, but that's what we do.
That's what we do on Get in the Garage. But I feel
like
self-proclaimed
job.
He had the I feel like the cigarette was the play.
Yeah.
Was the come on with the performance, and it was more. He was like being like real emo about it.
Yeah.
And he was like leaning into himself.
Yeah.
It almost worked.
It almost worked.
It was close.
There's a fine line
is,
between genius and stupid.
No, this is why I think it didn't work. That the guy that was playing electric guitar, he kept fucking up.
The one that was like behind him on the left, right?
Yeah, the black dude. No, the black dude.
No, he was on stage right, his left. He had a guitar player here, but then he had that guy. Was he the bass player or was he another guitar player?
That was a bass player in the back.
That was doing the backup vocals for him.
Yeah. I thought that was a bass player. They were singing
above everything.
Fine.
He sang okay. Yeah, he was singing okay.
That other dude on guitar that was playing the electric guitar.
Yeah.
He was, for my taste, was kind of fucking things up a little bit.
He's flubbing up a little bit.
He was kind of like loose magoose with it, you know.
Yeah.
So so for me, I feel like maybe Machine Gun Kelly could have, but like I felt like it was just a little janky. But
yeah,
it was a jam out. It was a jam out.
We're splitting hairs. This is just something that we want to talk about because I actually went down a rabbit hole watching videos about this. So I was like,
oh, really? Because is this a strong, contentious point right now?
For a minute, yeah. I mean, I watched. There's this one, oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. He's a YouTuber. Crap. He's like a metal guitar player guy. I just started.
The Chapman guy?
No. It's another guy. I just started watching his videos recently, so forgive me for not remembering. But he was talking. He was like talking some heavy shit on it. He was like angrily like ranting into the void, but I got a kick out of it because it's, it was funny. But
this is why.
But it got me to thinking about that kind of stuff.
This
is
why I think it's cool.
Artistic risk versus artistic reward. Like
it's cool because it's showing off another thing. And he's like, I like the genre bending. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I think it's really. I think it's doing a lot for music right now, and I think it's like. Yeah. It's important that people are like testing out the boundaries of things, and kudos for him, man. Like,
yeah, because realistically, if you think about it,
it takes balls to do it.
Well, what's like if you could try to put an age on the demographic of people who listen to Machine Gun Kelly, you could say what as early as maybe like 15, 16 years old up until probably like maybe 26, 27.
Probably like 11 to his age.
You think
age.
that full?
Yeah, the full spectrum up.
Yeah.
So, but even that though, it's the little kids that have never heard Ariels.
Yeah, right. That's
they
what
might
I was.
Hear it now, and it's the Travis Barker and the Blink-182, and then it's the rap, and he's got a lot going on. He's very talented.
At least you know what it is, man. Too, I will say, zooming out, right? If you look at it, you're like, well, at least somebody's flying a flag for rock and roll. You know what I mean? Fuck it. If it's got to be Machine Gun Kelly, it's Machine Gun Kelly.
But that's
he
the
played.
Thing,
he
though.
also played.
He put himself out there. He also played Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee in the Netflix film The Dirt, which was
2 thumbs up. That was a Get in the Garage. 2 thumbs up.
2 muddy thumbs up from all that dirt. I worked with a guy. Just as a side note, just for tell a fun story. I worked with a guy. Well, the guy that owned the music store that I used to work for that I did lessons at. I remember talking to him about it because it first came out and I was doing lessons at his music shop. And he's like, man, it was a good movie, but that wasn't even the half of it. Like that kind of thing where he's just like, oh, it was way crazier actually living through all of that stuff when it was happening in real time.
Watching that happen or filming that would have been new crimes.
would have been new crimes. Oh well, yeah, right.
You can't
Right.
even film like what was actually happening.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Also, that movie had so little sensitivity. It was amazing.
Yeah. It was It was
dirty.
It was dirty. It was filthy.
It had all the sensitivity of a car crash.
Dude.
Oh, was that a bad joke?
Can I get that train whistle? No, I agree though. It's sad because like, death scenes in movies can go real bad. And that movie, it just happened to be pretty bad.
It was pretty bad. It
was
was pretty
pretty
rough
bad.
to watch.
He was like, it's Christmas. You're like, what? Neil, you see the lights? He's like, yeah, man. Yeah, buddy, I see the lights. It's Christmas. It's Christmas.
Oh, God.
It's like, this guy's like in the real life version of that was way more, But I mean, who knows? I think who was it that passed away in that car accident? I can't remember his name. I thought he was he in another band, or maybe he was just like a friend to the band or something like that. Either way, the point is,
I feel like the story of Sam Kinison dying isn't that like the same? Didn't he die in a car accident, like almost the same way?
did he die in a car accident?
I think almost the same exact way.
Because like he was hit by a car when he was like a little kid.
I think he also died in a car accident.
Oof.
And I think they pulled him out, and he
Yeah.
did like the same thing.
Yikes.
But
Well,
or the same thing that maybe like happened in the dirt, but probably didn't happen. We don't know.
it's Christmas. It's the lights.
We'd like to apologize to the Motley Crue estate.
Yeah, we're sorry, guys.
We're sorry, Vince Neil.
We went off the rails once again.
Kickstart is hard.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's Motley Crue, though. Age-old question, Motley Crue or Def Leppard?
Oh, Motley Crue.
Motley Crue. Jeff would disagree, though. He's a Def Leppard guy through and through. Anyway,
moving on.
Moving on.
Oh, well, too.
Oh, yeah, because you did write something down.
I wanted to ask, I had like an interesting take here. Also, we got to get back to the Machine Gun Kelly story was very interesting in the genre bending. We also have to talk about one day the great Garth Brooks, Chris Gaines debacle. Because that's like in the same vein, but that's when that shit did not fly at all for anybody. That's what I wanted to bring back to that real fast, because I feel like that was a big one.
I would say also, like, in that regard too, man, you're talking about a country music leap. And country music people, especially when like Garth Brooks was Garth Brooks.
He's still Garth
Brooks. And he's still Garth Brooks. No disrespect to the Brooks estate. But
where are the bodies?
But I'm saying that like that Chris Gaines leap must have been terrifying as an artist to just be like, well, I'm just putting all my chips in this one fucking idea and like hope it works.
Right.
And it's hilariously awesome.
I like a lot. I genuinely like a lot of the tunes on that record.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Like you go in to think that you're going to listen to this ironically, and then halfway through you're like, "Fuck, I like these songs."
Right, and it's not on. It's not on Spotify either.
It's not.
No. You gotta like search to find it. We have a CD that floats around between the two of us somewhere. But If you want to see like why I think it was great music, Childish Gambino does a cover of I forget the name of the song, but it's called it's like Heaven Knows I'm head over heels and it shows. Yeah, if you go to YouTube and type in Chris Gaines, Childish Gambino, it comes up. I want to see what it is.
Chris Gaines.
Oh, it's the song is called Lost in You.
Lost in You.
And I feel like Childish Gambino is it's that same, oh my god, it's that same cover series from the Wiggles.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It's that same radio station.
Hell yeah.
So good on that radio station. That shit's cool. But is this just playing in our headphones?
Yes. The good people can't hear this.
So
but I just threw the song on just to have it on.
Yeah, so like, and it gives like validity to the music. So like it shows that it was actually good. I'm a big fan of this cover, and I think like it shows that that it was actually worth its salt. A lot of people laugh about it, but like there are some terrible songs on that record, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but even the bad ones, you're like, they're fun.
Yeah,
like, who cares?
I thought it worked.
Yeah.
It worked in some weird way, but like it didn't work And like the thing is, like I felt like people were not willing to let him move in that direction, and that's why it didn't work. They weren't willing to buy in with him. Like,
and he did, dude. He went full send on that shit. Like he created like this elaborate backstory, and then like inside
he had
the
it behind
booklet,
the music.
Yeah, right.
There's a Chris Gaines behind the music
Like,
that like
on.
aired on VH1.
Yeah. It's
So,
like,
like, it's not like he didn't even, but he went in on that project like full bore, and
Yeah.
like nobody was willing to go in with
what's
him.
so funny about that is like it sounds like a Will Ferrell or like Dewey Cox type movie thing.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm trying to say? Where it's just like you have these actors that all of a sudden embody like these fake musicians.
mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden they like kind of become like a real thing. It's like he did the same thing
Yeah.
before they were making movies about people doing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, does that? I'm trying to like.
No, I get what you're saying.
I mean, I talk in circles, but
It's just like it's fascinating that like now it's the thing is the internet has blown people's minds wide open, especially for taste. Like things people used to not like before, they definitely like now, and I feel like hip hop, older samples moving in. I feel like a lot of stuff works now in genre bending. Genre bending is you want to clip that one?
Yeah.
Genre bending music. I feel like it's easier to do now,
Yeah,
But
well, like
I just wanted to shout out the example where it didn't work, but
yeah,
bringing it to if I'm gonna even further.
okay,
here.
let's go.
Been listening to the Who a lot this week.
Yeah,
Okay, so you got the tune "My Generation."
4 minutes left, by the way.
Right on. So we have "My Generation" by the Who.
Yep.
Right. Kid music. Why is it still good? That's the shit that gets me.
Yeah.
Why does "My Generation," a song written for that generation's generation, and I like that song and I get it.
Well, because I think it's a song like that, man.
But that's straight up kids music.
Yeah,
I
well, yeah.
hope I die before I get old. It's
Yeah.
so like I don't know. It doesn't know old age. It doesn't know any of that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's straight up kid music. It is
Yeah.
like people try to put me down. I hope I die. I never want to get old. And it still works so well. That blows my mind because you think about a lot of kids music that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or like teenage music that works on.
And it's still, well, yeah, I think it's a testament because it still works. But it's because that song is like the embodiment of like teenage angst.
right.
And kind of like the young people looking at like the quote unquote like old guard, like the generation in like before them, sort of ahead of them kind of thing. You kind of like want to shake your fist at them and be like, why are you like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like it's that,
So,
and
like,
it's also like, what the hell's going on? It's
Do you think like 80s kids music works? Like that's the question. Like boomer music works. A lot of it.
Yeah, I think the thing that
does
the 80s,
kids music work? I think it does.
I think it does.
Because here we go.
Yeah,
What was for kids in the 80s? Hip hop,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Rap was getting invented.
yeah.
You had
hip hop.
But like does like Duran hold up? I think in a lot of people's hearts it does.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know
maybe
if in
not in the
mine it
same.
does.
I don't know if it does in the same way that My Generation does. My Generation is like this sort of like primordial sort of oozing.
That's
sort
just
of
the
a
example.
song.
But like let's take Please Please Me by the Beatles. That's
Yeah.
kids music
Yeah,
to a lot of, you know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, I think every like
I feel like
I think in all its forms, all of the pop culture that's relevant at any
or
given
not
time.
kids, but I mean like when I say kids, I mean like young people.
young. We say kids because we're 30s, in our 30s. Like, well, not yet. You are. You're about
Getting
to be
close.
But no,
when I say kid, I mean like young people. Music.
Yeah, like young people,
Teenagers,
like,
that kind of thing.
teenagers and stuff.
I say it like an old man.
I'm sure there, like, I wouldn't really have any songs to reference in that era because, like, that's not the music that I, have the experience with. So I don't know, maybe for some people, but like, yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting thought.
Right? Because like
Yeah.
I've been thinking about a lot of stuff like that lately. Like, because in a lot of sense, I don't know. It's like, because this is why this would blow. Just I'm gonna harp on the Who example for a minute.
Yeah.
The Who don't play any of their early singles really in concert. Well, actually, they play 3, but they're the 3 that are the most like childish kind of.
Yeah.
They'll play My Generation.
Yep.
They'll play Can't Explain.
Yep.
And they'll play Substitute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like those are and they back it with everything that's the big giant heavy. Who's next? Who? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Won't Get Fooled Again. And then Who Are You?
Yep.
Those are radically different songs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's adult music. Who Are You? That's adult music. It's got synthesizers and texture and you know what I mean? Quadrophenia. That's adult music. It's you know what I mean? As much as it is kid music, it's also very much
well, it's music that was written for the kids when they were kids and they're now adults.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can kind of, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you evolve with maybe that's what it is. It's
Who evolved with their audience. You think.
Right.
But why does My Generation still work? It still works to people that have no reference.
Because it's the starting line.
Yeah, I guess so.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's the starting line. So it's like every like you know what I'm trying to say? Like every, I would say, influential artist or band that is like the same age as their audience when they get going.
Right.
You know, and it just splinters off in its many different varieties and forms and all that stuff. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It just so happens that I think when it comes to the Who, because like anybody can like that song. It's so accessible. It's a major pop song, and and I think that even older people, boomers now even, have this sort of feeling about them where they're like, that's what I felt like when I was young. I can bridge,
but like a
good angry fucking young person song.
See, I feel like an artist like Billie Eilish, I feel like that record's gonna hold up stupid well because it's like it's well done, and it's like, but it is more like kid music. Yeah, it's definitely young people music. Yeah, it's got like you know what I mean. But like, does Justin Bieber's Baby hold up?
I don't.
You know
but
what
I can't. I don't know if because I feel it holds. I think it holds up for somebody.
It holds up for somebody.
It holds up for somebody, but that somebody would have to be the person who was like the same age as Justin Bieber when that happened.
Dude,
and you know what I'm trying to say? Like that's
Ludacris does the rap verse on that.
Wow.
I think it's Ludacris.
I think it probably is. So yeah, I think for somebody it is. It's just that I think with My Generation, with the Who, it's just such a standout. So like it's just a good fucking song. It doesn't matter.
This is also the point, which is lyrical content and meaning and intention kind of trump all the time period bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
It's like that.
Yeah, right.
It cuts through.
It cuts through.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just like, man, you know, like people try to put us down. You know,
it's one of the best. I mean, we haven't talked about the Who on the show really at all.
Not really at length, no.
But it's one of the best delivered lyrics of all time because
one of the best delivered bass lines of all time.
The bass solo, but
come on,
just
John Entwistle.
The lyric, where he can't stammer out of his mouth because he's still a kid, and he's getting the nerve to say what he's saying.
Yeah,
and
right.
It's nervous, and it's the stutter energy.
Yeah,
brilliant. It's like. That's why the Who are so good. It's the nuance of that shit. It's like you don't realize it, you hear it a million times, and then you think about it for a minute. You're like, why did he intentionally stutter in the song? Yeah, it's like because
like after you're done having a good laugh about it, you're like, well, that is an artistic choice. Like, what was that? What was the?
Yeah, it's like you ever get so mad you can't talk? Yeah. You ever get so nervous you can't say what you need to say to somebody? Yeah. Like that's that song.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
True.
I mean,
we got to do a Who episode at some point in the near future.
Well, I just read a book on Roger Daltrey, and
written by him too.
Yes, his autobiography. Speaking of which, we're going to talk about a book when we come back.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with Luke's Book Nook.
Wow, book review. This is the Get in the Garage
book reviews. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back
to Get in the Garage,
a music podcast for music lovers. We hope you enjoyed our ads.
They were good.
They're fun. And I recorded a couple of them, so that was fun too.
Yeah.
Shout out to Wasted Robot Network, our podcast network. Check them out.
Yeah, get on the Wasted Robot Network.
So
we wanted to review books.
yeah, we thought we came up with this idea, and Luke is one for. I mean, he just told you he just finished the Roger Daltrey autobiography. So Luke is one for reading the books of great rock stars and bands.
I have a thing for I really like the rock star autobiography.
Yeah, why not though?
The rock star biography with a what do they call that? A ghostwriter kind of thing.
Yep.
And I've read a ton of them at this point, and so I thought I'd put my good knowledge to use. I'll tell you the good ones from the bad ones.
Okay.
Because they're not all good. But let's take a walk down with one I think is rather on the exceptional scale. We're going to talk about Aerosmith here.
Yeah.
Aerosmith was a band that was formed in the early 70s in Boston.
So we can claim them as one of our own?
We definitely can.
I think so, as New Englanders, right?
Boston is, I mean, we're from Connecticut. Aerosmith is my band. I'm going to claim Aerosmith as a New England band.
They're the lords of your thighs.
They are my band. There are toys in my attic.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, same here, dude. Aerosmith, it's a band that can have a very Led Zeppelin 1-esque first album and then also sing about making love in an elevator.
Yeah. And I dig all eras as well, too.
Well, that's what I mean, kind of tying it back into what we were just talking about, like a band that like spans generations and is the soundtrack to a person's life, and
right.
Yeah,
you definitely, a lot of people grew up with.
I mean, yeah, Dream On.
Yeah.
Right? That's on the first album.
Yeah, all the way through, and that's a through line song.
Yeah,
so you're right. That was a good catch.
Yeah, man.
That's a through line song all the way to like.
Yeah.
Great. So what I want to talk about is Walk This Way. This book was purchased by my sister a very long time ago. I haven't asked her if she ever read it. I'm sure she did. She's
in high
quite
school,
the bookworm.
a very heavy Aerosmith fan too.
Yes, my sister is the reason I'm a big Aerosmith fan. It was my sister's like first I like music thing.
Yeah.
And she picked out Aerosmith's Pump, and I don't know what happened, but she loved that record, loved that band. So kudos to her. It might have also been the halftime show where Steven Tyler passed the mic with I think Kid Rock, and he was Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
But so this book is Walk This Way. It's the autobiography of Aerosmith with Stephen Davis. So what this book basically does is it takes the time period, goes all the way to like I think like the late 90s when this book came out.
Yep.
And what it does is it's like kind of like interview style. So they'll give like a kind of like a chunky paragraph of like Steven Tyler was born in da 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 da, right?
Yeah,
and then it'll talk to like his mom and his dad and the school people and like his friends growing up. So that was a great thing too.
Is it written in interview style?
It's not like what was happening then. It'll tell the person, and then it'll say like Laura Kaufman, and then it'll give Laura Kaufman's statements about Revere Beach.
Oh, okay, I see.
Right,
I got you.
But it reads very story-like. It's not clunky in like a lot of ways.
Yeah.
This is why I'll start off with why I like this book. When they're talking about something, like that not controversial, but something they might have an argument about.
Yeah.
Every band member then gets to chime in on, I thought it went this way, I thought it went that way, and I thought it went this way.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's really great to see a well-rounded, not just a, this is what happened here.
Would you say that they, like, I'll ask this. Would you say that they were a pretty well-bonded band? In other words, does it seem that sort of the politics between the band members was democratic, or because I would assume that like Joe Perry and Steven Tyler kind of were like the Keith Richards, Mick Jagger of the band.
The book starts off with a heavy up front Steven Tyler and heavy up front Joe Perry, and kind of the other band members it gives shorter. But Steven Tyler is really important to Aerosmith, and it really highlights in this book. So Steven Tyler's a little bit older than the rest of them and had played in more successful bands. He had like working bands, and he was hanging out in Greenwich Village in the 60s. And he was
way.
Yeah. So he was seeing all this stuff.
Yeah.
He went to the first Zeppelin show at the Boston Tea Party.
Oh, no way.
Look up that bootleg on YouTube, Led Zeppelin Boston Tea Party. 1969.
If I can, I'll try to link it in the description box below.
Yeah, it's a great.
I will try to do that for
and
you.
it's talked about in this book. Steve, this is where I learned about it. If you look up the Wikipedia page for if you look up like anything about Led Zeppelin's first tour, they'll talk about that gig and they'll talk about the reference that's in this book from Steven Tyler saying how mind-blowing Dazed and Confused was. So he was hanging out like in the Village. He was like a cool dude. Like people knew Steven Tyler.
Yeah.
Steven Tabanco, whatever his name was, his original name.
Yeah.
Look it up. But so he was kind of like hot shit, and then like his bands kind of like broke up on like the tail end of the 60s, and he kind of took like a bunch of really scruffy musicians and really worked them into a great band. And you'll hear like they just released, which I would highly recommend you look up. None of them even knew it existed. They found the tape. It was from 1971. The first Aerosmith record, for reference, is 1973. I think it's called The Early Years, and it's all like first album cuts.
Yep.
And then one song, Major Barbara, that didn't make it to the first album. Shout out Barbara.
We love you, Barb.
We love you, Barb. You're not dead, but you're my mom. You're just not here.
Yeah. You're just not here. But yeah.
So you'll hear like how rough that band sounds.
Yeah.
And then by that album, they are one of the hottest, tightest bands.
They're cooking.
Yeah, the material sucks on that Early Years record. It sounds like dog shit.
Yeah.
And then Steven Tyler works that band into such a tight, great band. And they really say it in this book. And they do say that Steven Tyler like was the dude.
Yeah.
Like on tempo, dude. You got to get this right. You got to be on this change here.
Yeah.
A lot of resentment because of that. But so
did you take away from it though any sort of that thing where some resentments, you know, how did they like when a decision needed to be made, I would assume that Steven Tyler was kind of like, hey, this is what we're doing. But that's what I'm saying. Was it more democratic, or was it just like all out fucking war? Like they were all just at each other's throats about shit.
It seemed kind of like war.
Yeah.
Aerosmith seemed like it was hard to be in. It seemed like you had your factions at some point, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it seemed like kind of like, you know, it turns and you start doing drugs and you're just having fun and you're just in a rock and roll band and you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But then you name your album Rocks. So you lose control of yourself.
Rocks.
So what I love about this book is it no-nonsensely goes and says the only way that you are ever going to get better is to go to rehab, and it plots out their whole rehab thing. And they were one of the first bands to publicly go to rehab and be really out front about it. Like, and they saved themselves. They became the #1 band again. Became the biggest rock band again.
Yeah.
From being like literally nothing. They were so broke, and Steven Tyler was collapsing on stage. It's all in this book.
I didn't realize it was that bad.
This book is a fascinating read because Aerosmith has a great public image now. This book would not be released today. It would not be released today.
Really? You don't think so, huh?
No. Steven Tyler isn't a great dude. At least he was not when he was using drugs.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, there's the 14-year-old girl, whatever, the 16-year-old girl, whatever.
Oh, he had that experience like that too?
Yeah, it's gross. A lot of those guys did.
I mean, Jimmy Page.
A lot of those guys did.
Ted Nugent.
It doesn't excuse it that a lot of them did. It's just gross. And it doesn't age well, and it doesn't read well. So that was a rough, like, if I'm being honest on the book, like that. And it's in the, so I don't know. At least they were honest about it. And I don't know if they were honest with a clear head, but at least they were honest about being honest. So that was like a gross part. So that was in the book, you know, full disclosure that's in there. Yeah. Other disclosure, Aerosmith is secretly all like Republican dudes, which was very funny.
Really?
Yes. Mostly.
They're like all conservatives?
Yeah, mostly like Tom Hamilton and you know, like Joey Kramer, like they're pretty like they're old school Republicans.
Yeah.
They were raised in New Hampshire and New England.
Yeah, right.
And they were just it is what it is. But like that was the funny thing about this book was like one of the things that I think it was Tom Hamilton was saying was like, dude, like it's weird having to like fake being a liberal dude in the rock and roll scene a lot of the times. He's like, and I hid it a lot at first, but now he's like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. So like a lot of the dudes in Aerosmith, yeah, they're pretty like conservative leaning voters.
That, that's an interesting concept though if you think about it, because like how many? There's got to be a lot, right? Like how many
Secretly
artists?
conservative artists,
right, or secretly liberal, you could say. Even, you know what I'm trying to say? Like if you're, if you're in a specific
country artist, right? And you're
I didn't want to, I was trying to say without saying it, but yeah.
Oh no,
like,
say it.
Yeah.
This is that show, man. We're we're getting into like what it is. So
yeah, right. So that's what I'm saying. Like that, like how much of it is like it makes you question that sort of thing. Like how much of it is an image, how much of it is real, how much of it isn't real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And they Aerosmith didn't really put their like he's like, we played one political thing like that, and he's like, really? And then but it was just interesting. But I'm sure a lot of those guys are really keeping it close to the vest and not really, or putting on a, you know what I mean?
I'd say that is interesting, because if you think about it, right, like if you think historically in that sense, like in your brain when you look back at that, not that I lived through it so I can't give an honest, but like in your brain, you think back on all these people and you're like, oh yeah, they were like, like the free love sort of like liberal kind of hippie, liberated like generation and stuff. And it's so funny how a lot of them now that are part of that generation are like kind of like more conservative types of people. And it's just an interesting observation, I should say. It's an interesting observation that you can look at that. And but it makes you question how many of it, not to cut you off, but it makes you question how much of it was really genuine.
Okay, well, here's
know what I mean?
Here's what I'm going to say to you is, do you not feel that right now we're kind of being marketed hate and dissent, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, musically.
No, not musically.
You're saying just in general.
In general.
Yeah.
We're getting marketed like separation.
Yeah, like fear and hate and all that stuff. It sells, man.
Right. So, because like nobody's buying music, so music isn't a popular way to push your product like that anymore, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of popular music isn't like peace and love. It's more like, money and that object based. Right. So we got that.
Yeah. More materialistic, more.
Yeah.
I understand what you mean.
And then boy, girl love.
Yeah.
That girl, boy love. That happened. All that stuff. So.
Love songs. And
yeah. So you got like that's the more popular thing now. But then, so we're getting sold the other thing. I think a lot of the marketing was peace and love. I think they were getting sold the marketing of peace and love, and like you can get marketed peace and love and not have any peace. You could have a shirt that says "Love Jesus," but like you don't. You know what I mean? I love Jesus, but you don't love Jesus. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know
it's
what
like
you mean.
The marketing of peace and love was what that was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, a lot of them were, you know what I mean? They were like, yeah, I love everybody. Yeah, peace, man.
Yeah, right.
I'm voting for Nixon.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's. But I think, do you think that maybe then, like, if you were to look back at it from that perspective, like, okay, like now, right? Like, if you're in a specific sort of friend group or whatever, if you have a particular political leaning, sometimes that can be like an alienating quality, right? So if you say like, oh, I'm like a Democrat or I'm a Republican, it can alienate you out of like certain types of friend groups. Now, I wonder if back then it was a similar thing. Like, would you get, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, could you be in a hippie circle like that and just be like, yeah, my political leanings are more conservative? And like, would you get like oh, right on, man?
No way. You'd get like you'd get John Sinclair on 1969 Woodstock kicking Pete Townsend, saying this is a load of or it's not John Sinclair. John Sinclair was in prison.
Yeah.
It's Abby Hoffman jumping on stage and kicking Pete Townsend, saying this is a load of shit. Well, so you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Pete Townsend's trying to like talk about the transcendence of music through the deaf, dumb, and blind boy Tommy, and he's like, people are rotting in jail,
Yeah.
And so it's like,
yeah,
feel me? Like, cause that's all Tommy is. It's Tommy is the transcendence of music. It's the story of the deaf, dumb, and blind boy becoming coming into the world through the vibration of music.
Yeah.
That's what it's about, right?
Yeah.
A real heady, trippy peace and love kind of idea, right? And then in the middle of it,
yeah.
this dude's like, I can't stand one more second of this if you're not gonna say what I need the move. So it was there too, you know.
Yeah.
Pete Townsend did kick him off stage.
I thought he hit him with a headstock.
He did, and then and then he kicked him. And he said, "Get the fuck off my stage!
Yeah, right.
Get the fuck off my fucking stage!"
There you go. So if you ever think that we're living through crazy times, it's always kind of been crazy times. Let's be real.
I think it's right before Pinball Wizard. It's either right before Pinball Wizard or right after Pinball Wizard.
Yeah.
So either way, it's like.
Can I ask you a question?
So good.
How come? Do you ever find that like, it's like the Who played Woodstock, right?
Yep.
But like, why is it that I kind of just feel like anytime I see any Woodstock tribute-y type things,
the Who aren't in it.
The Who are kind of left out. Like the Grateful Dead's kind of left out.
It's the marketing of the movie. I mean, the Who are definitely thought in, probably just not your zeitgeist. Like,
yeah, maybe not.
The Who are definitely a major part of Woodstock. It's Roger Daltrey singing "See Me, Feel Me" while the sun rises. It's a big part of the movie.
It's a big part of the movie. I don't know why.
It's one of the biggest parts of the movie. It's like the one everybody references.
I watched that movie
because
on an airplane.
He does
4 years ago.
Feel me,
yeah.
And like the sun is literally rising out of the. It's like one of the most bonkers moments ever.
Yeah.
You're just like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the band like kicks. It's like it's pumping the band on more, and then everybody starts to get up and they start cheering, and it's fucking insane. It's great. The Who are great.
The Who are great.
But back to Aerosmith. That was a long tangent.
We keep going up on the Who stuff.
We keep talking about the Who, but
we want to talk about the Who.
Well, people try to put us down.
But people,
This book, getting back to getting back to the book though. It really goes through like all that really like shitty stuff. It goes through like the early period is great in here. It talks about them living in Boston, and it talks to a lot of different people. That's what I like about this. It doesn't stick to Aerosmith. Their manager, Jack Douglas, from the 70s, who was like the Aerosmith's champion, and then Aerosmith is greatly the story of most bands is the story of how good their manager is and how worth their salt is.
Yeah.
Look at Peter Grant and Led Zeppelin. That's all you really got to say.
Two things you got to remember, man: the manager and the producer.
Yeah, and
they're members of the band too, man.
Yeah, the managers for Aerosmith played such an important part, and it's just one of those stories where the manager really put it all out there.
Was he a career-long manager? Like, does he still manage the band?
No.
Oh. Though I was assuming there was some sort of financial fallout.
Well, he was doing just as much cocaine as Aerosmith. and the band, but this
Cocaine's
is the
a hell
thing.
of a drug, man.
By the time you get to the mid-'80s and Joe Perry quits Aerosmith is such a rough spot. They're going to be dead. You know what I mean? They're going to die. The band's going to die and the members are going to die that are left in it, and even the ones that are out. So, like, what happens is a new manager comes in, the guy that was managing Joe Perry in the Joe Perry Project. Mm-hmm. He comes in and he really sets the whole thing forward again for the revival.
Yep.
So there's a great manager story in there. There's a lot of great industry insight. A lot of great like what it's actually like being in a rock and roll band. It's pretty kind of like boring and a lot of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. How long was the gap before the revival? Because it looks like discography wise, everything looks fairly consistent. I mean,
no, because you got 1977's "Night in the Ruts," the last album with Joe Perry. He plays on a couple of the tracks, and then he's filled in with the rest of it. And then the next album.
I'm looking at tours. That's why.
That's why you're looking at tours. Then
there we go.
You gotta look at 1984's "Rock in a Hard Place," right?
Well, we have Aerosmith, "Get Your Wings," "Toys in the Attic" 75, "Rocks" 76, "Draw the Line" 77, "Night in the Rut" 79, "Rock in a Hard Place" 82.
Yeah,
then
so
we have 85, 87.
That's a pretty big gap.
Yeah.
So it's really the "Rock in a Hard Place" and the other album there.
Done with Mirrors, Permanent Vacation.
Done with Mirrors has Joe Perry back on it, but "Rock in a Hard Place" is the really bad album.
Okay.
Done with Mirrors isn't that great either.
Rockin' a Heart, the album cover is like
It's Stonehenge. So they released that album, dude,
my God.
and you know what movie came out like the same year?
Spinal Tap.
This is Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
They were like living Aerosmith.
They were like a parody of themselves.
At the end of the 70s,
Yeah.
Aerosmith were Spinal Tap. They were like, "Where are we playing?" And they're like, "Oh, you're not playing Boston tonight. Don't worry, it's not a big college town.
Yeah,
You
right.
don't live there."
It's not a big college town.
So, but that's like the thing too. It really does talk about like how the members were so frustrated and how they all were like, Steven Tyler was really messing things up for the band and collapsing on stage all the time and nobody wanted to lend Aerosmith like a dime to like promote a tour or anything. And the comeback story is really great. And it's a great preach of sobriety and the challenges of staying clean and how you have to live your life after that and the differences. And I thought that was like the brutal honesty of that was really, refreshing after, because it doesn't just give you the dirt. It gives you the clean, too.
Yeah,
it shows you how you have to clean the floor after you shit all over it.
Yeah.
Because their lives were terrible. But the music is great. The first Aerosmith for me ends in, Aerosmith for me is like I love the first 4 albums, but for me it's the first 3 are the killer. It's like
self-titled, Get Your Wings, and Toys in the Attic.
we have right here. Those are my personal favorite Aerosmith albums. I'm sure everybody has a great era they love. I mean, I love the album Pump. I love other stuff. I love Rocks. I mean, Last Child's an amazing track, but I really love the beginning of this book highlights the story of a working rock and roll band trying to make it, and those albums are struggly albums, and like they're all got great songs out of them. Some of them are a little duddy at times, but like I love them personally. I think they're all winners, but I can understand how some people wouldn't be into all of it. But I think those 3 albums right there are great early hard rock, and it's New England hard rock, which is not it's not a thing that happened anywhere else. And Aerosmith, for my money, doesn't sound. They say that Aerosmith is like a Stones ripoff. It's not really. It's Aerosmith is everything that was great about the Yardbirds and just an American rock and roll mixed together. That's how I feel.
I feel like Aerosmith had that look because it's 73 is their first album.
Yeah.
So they didn't have that like 68 kind of like band that would be doing this kind of thing album sound about them. They're 73. This is like fucking what is it? Houses of the Holy's already out.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's that that supercharged hard rock, like classic 70s hard rock.
Right.
And because when I like to listen to these types of bands, like Aerosmith is not a new band for me, but Aerosmith at one point was a new band for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In terms of the deep dive, I knew, my mom obviously had the Armageddon soundtrack. You know what I mean? So like I heard that stuff. But when I was like, all right, roll up our sleeves, let's get into Aerosmith. Anytime I do that with a band, I always start at album number 1. And it's probably my favorite record of theirs just because like I was like, oh shit, this is what Aerosmith is. It's like the same thing with the first Queen album. It's like this you know what I'm trying to say? It's like that, like I have to hear where's their launch pad.
And the great thing about the first Aerosmith album too is, like I've been saying, that they're a working band. The songs are like about a working band. It's like, somebody.
It ain't easy.
Mamakin on the first record, the opener of side 2. It ain't easy living like a gypsy. Tell your mama how it feels.
Also, as a side note, it's important to remember, just to keep things, that we fully are aware that the first Aerosmith album is basically Steven Tyler like ripping off like a Black Soul singer.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like full disclaimer, we are completely aware of that. Yeah. But the thing is I think that was an inevitability.
I think
no matter what, because it's based in.
I think
you know what I mean. It's based in blues, really. It's supercharged blues.
Yeah, and it's also a choice at the time that it seems silly, but like it's also a stupid youthful mistake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's like something you wouldn't do now, but at the time you're like,
because really by the time I mean 74, Get Your Wings. It's not really. It's like Aerosmith is finding Aerosmith's sound.
Right.
You know what I mean? This to me is like. What could you compare it to? Like in terms of debut albums, like
you
what
listen
could
to
you
Dream
compare?
On though. He doesn't do that shit on Dream On.
No, that's his voice. That's like
his
Steven
voice.
Tyler's voice. Yeah.
Right. So at the same time, it's got
Yeah.
the push pull on. Like,
It's got
some
the put.
of
Yeah,
them.
he does the put on sometimes, and then other times it's
Yeah.
genuine. You know, yeah, because he does have a good voice. I think it was. I don't know. You might know. It might be in the book or something, but you know what I'm saying. Like when you're first getting out there, you're starting. Like inevitably, like the singing voice that you go out and you put out there is typically heavily influenced by some other singer because you're trying to find your own voice, but you're kind of like do a play on somebody else's voice and then find your own voice. And I think that's what you see in the first 3 records is that kind of progression.
In the other deal too is Aerosmith always gets knocked as the Stones ripoff, like the American Stones ripoff.
Yeah,
Steven Tyler's a way better singer than fucking Mick Jagger.
Yeah,
like it's not.
And no disrespect to Mick Jagger.
Mick Jagger's a way better frontman than Steven Tyler.
Sure,
he's the best frontman of all time.
Yeah.
But Steven Tyler's a better singer. Like, just on the surface, he's a much better singer.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of the songs much more interesting. Like, you know, I'm a way bigger Stones fan. Don't get me wrong. But, like, their arrangements on Aerosmith albums, like, where they are kind of, like, on the Stones kick, you know what I mean? They sound different because you can sing with a better range.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, is Aerosmith leaned into the hard rock, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that you had that total English influence.
Yeah.
For me, they're the only American band that played like they were an English band, though. So that was the interesting thing. Always the interesting thing to me.
You know what's cool?
Always played on the English side.
It's cool that you say that too because it's kind of like if you think about it, right? Like we there's the LA bands. Then you have like the Midwestern bands, right? You have like the Cleveland bands and the Detroit bands and all that stuff, and they sound very Cleveland and Detroit. You know, it's when you're talking about East Coast bands, like there is a limited selection, but it sounds like where it comes from. It sounds like it's in between English and LA, like
exactly
England and
what
LA.
It
It's
like
it's like pinpointed right in the middle. Like you have enough of that Stones kind of a vibe, but there's still an American band, so there's this like blue collar sort of quality about it. There's this kind of like big sort of LA stadium rock element about it. Like it pulls from everywhere.
And the great thing is, it's heavy music that wasn't influenced by psychedelia. That's the other deal to it.
Just pure cocaine. no psychedelics.
But that's
just cocaine.
I didn't even mean it like that, but I meant it. I meant it in the.
But I know what you mean. Yeah.
I mean in the sense that like Zeppelin was influenced by Vanilla Fudge and
there was a psychedelic element to it.
There's always that psychedelia to the early heavy shit, right? Blue Cheers, it's very psychedelic, right?
Yeah.
The early heavy shit is always steeped in psychedelia. First Zeppelin album, super psychedelic.
Yeah.
Dazed and Confused. The most psychedelic you get on here is Dream On.
Yeah, right.
I mean, not Dream On, Sweet Emotion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but even that one, it's got this sort of like
it's not at all.
It's like that hoppy, beady, like like that's still that leans more proto heavy metal than it does like psychedelia. Yeah.
So that's the interesting thing about Aerosmith. All that's highlighted in this book. If we're gonna get like this is the nitty gritty of the book review, probably about like 100 pages too long.
Okay.
Some of the like black text intros get a little boring. They're like, this was what was going on at the time. They're like, the leaves were turning, and it's like a little bit.
Oh, they go Tolkien on you.
Yeah, it's like a little bit too much in some spots. The pictures were great in here, where it had pictures and it didn't have like the glossies. It's just built right in. So like, I like. I
love when books do that.
Yeah, me too. I don't like the glossies.
Yeah,
at
I hate
all.
that big thick section in the middle of the book.
Yeah, because then it's hard to reference to what you're talking about and what they're talking about if you need to see the picture. So yeah, it was probably like because this is a 500 pager. It was probably like 150, 100 pages too long for me, but great insight. Interviews with the girlfriends also was super great. All the wives and girlfriends get to have their opinion felt. Also has a very interesting Liv Tyler, Todd Rundgren thing, which is worth reading about. Is very interesting. Todd Rundgren was a real stand-up dude in that instance. So if I'm gonna give this, are we giving these letter grades or number grades? Are we going 1 to 10 or?
Why don't we go letters since we typically go numbers for albums?
All right.
So book.
If I'm giving this, as far as the rock and roll, this is like, it's in the 90s. It kind of has that like 90s-y like Tony Hawk kind of thing going.
Okay.
Do you know what, does that make sense?
I
to you?
guess.
X Games.
Okay.
Like rock and roll.
Yeah.
Rock and roll, dude.
Yeah.
It's kind of got that graphic-y wise going on. Like the chapter headings look really This page looks.
Oh yeah, I know. Yep. All I had to see was that, and I know exactly what you mean.
It's like the book is almost stylized like a chicken soup for the soul.
Chicken soup for the cokehead.
Why do we talk about chicken soup for the soul in this podcast all the time?
Do we?
I talk about it on this podcast.
We're a product.
Time.
We're a product of our era, man. That was on the back of everyone's toilet from like 1998 to like 2001.
God. But
everybody had that book. Those books, I should say.
I'm gonna letter it. I think I'm gonna give it like an A-, just because it's not. The structure of it isn't 100% there, but the stuff that's in there, like if you want to know about Aerosmith, this is a great book to learn about Aerosmith. It gets all different opinions.
Yep.
It has managers, record execs, all the people that were involved making the deals. Where the band members are like, I don't really know what was going on, but the manager will be like, I'll tell you what's going on at this time. If you're a real nerdy, granular person, this book is for you. Aerosmith's Walk This Way, the autobiography of Aerosmith with Stephen Davis.
Check it out.
It's old as shit.
Solid A-. When did the book come out? Did we give that real quick?
Does
it have it anywhere?
It's
Maybe
definitely
the
90s or early 2000s.
I will say this, just as a parting comment about books like this.
1999.
1999.
Oh, nope. 97.
97. Okay. And judging by what you told me, it seems like that Aerosmith released. Like, in other words, I can respect.
Or can I also say one more thing before I lose the thought? I'm so sorry. It's kind of got the vibe of like the exploitive VH1
behind the music.
Okay. It's got that. It's definitely that vibe. That's the vibe of the book. It's behind the music is the vibe of the book. So if you've watched the show, it's a very long version of the show.
Okay. All right.
So but that's a very fair way to say.
I was gonna say I at the very least as well respect when an artist or a band releases a thing like an autobiography or something like that shows them warts and all. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like it's like this is the story as it was told. We know it makes us look bad.
Yes.
But here it is.
Yes.
You know, we hope you enjoy it.
So yeah, you know what I mean.
Cocaine is pink.
My latest obsession.
Obsession.
But going back through all the hits here, I'd like to also point out that "Lord of Your Thighs" is still a killer song.
Yes.
Also, Pandora's Box is also a great song.
What album is that one on?
Pandora's Box, I think, is on this
Get Your
record.
Wings.
Yeah, I think it's the closer. Yeah, Pandora's Box is the closer on Get Your Wings. It's one of my favorite Aerosmith songs.
So Aerosmith, man, check them out. You know, they're
classic.
To be crude, they're sleazy cock rock, but
absolutely.
But it just is what it is, and if you could just you can enjoy things for what they are, it's okay.
Hell yeah. Also, like we shouted out on the show last week, the sleaziest lyrics to ever get passed on the radio every day of our lives. Aerosmith's Walk This Way. Let's have a round of applause for how terribly sleazy those lyrics are.
Oh yeah, can you give us a taste? Can you give us? Backseat lover?
No. Backstroke lover.
Oh, backstroke. I thought it was backseat all these years.
Backstroke lover, hiding undercover. Talk to your daddy, say. You ain't seen nothing till you're down and on the muffin, and you sure be changing ways.
Oh, my God.
I met a cheerleader, was a real good bleeder. All the times I could reminisce.
Oh.
But the best thing of lovin' was her sister and a cousin, and it started a little kiss.
Like this.
It's one of the filthiest songs ever.
Oh, man.
The verse it kicks into after that is even filthier than what I just said.
That's rough to hear, actually spoken, in just words. That's so terrible. Oh, my God.
Every day on the radio.
Oh, my God. Yeah, right?
Another fun.
Because if you
let me give you another fun one.
Okay.
Stop me up. At the end of that song, Mick Jagger says you make a dead man come 5 times.
Every single time you listen to that song on the radio going forward, listen to the whole song.
Sing along to it when it's playing in the supermarket.
Yeah.
You just be like, I'm just singing the song.
Yeah.
You make a dead man come. And it gets played every day.
Yeah.
I hear it every time. They never cut it off.
No. They never
It's bizarre.
Maybe they think that, like, you make a dead man, like, you make, like,
No,
come over
everybody
here.
knows
Come
what
over
this
here.
means. Everybody knows what this means. That's
Yeah.
probably the most. That one is so like blatant.
You
though.
pointed that out to me, like, I don't know how many years ago, and yeah, ever since it's the
You don't hear it. Like how many times did you hear that song? You never heard it.
I never heard it until you told me that it's there, and now I can't unhear it. It's the same thing with the squeaky drum pedal in fucking what Zeppelin song is the squeaky? Since I've Been Loving You.
Yeah.
Is I have this? It's got the squeak.
Yeah.
Before the drum, before the kick hits, it's like eating. Like once you know it's there, you can never unhear it. And every time I hear that Stone song, I'm like, yeah, in a Walgreens.
Yeah.
You make a dead man come, and I'm like, I'm here to
know
buy
who-
like
do you know who
ibuprofen for
pointed
my
it out
sick
to me?
child. Who?
A girlfriend's mom. She was
Really?
like, "Hey, did you know what Mick Jagger's about to say? You make a dead man." I was like, "What?"
Jeez.
So that
Mick
was
Jagger.
fun. If you guys have any lyrics you feel are incredibly filthy that get played on the radio every day, please send them in.
Comment. Yeah.
Because like it's one of the things I like look for in life is when like
Yeah.
something gets slipped by somebody.
Yeah.
Um,
Whew. Well, on that note,
on that note,
it's been a pleasure
Michael,
as always. I don't like doing the guy. I'm gonna be honest with you. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Shout out to what's his name?
Mike doesn't want to be train guy anymore.
Oh, the train guy. What's his name? Francis Bourgeois, I think his name is, or something like that. It's that dude that like waves at trains and stuff. Look him up on Instagram. He's a great follow. But
He's so excited.
listen. I know that I do a good impression of him, but
I didn't want you to do the train guy.
oh, you didn't.
I wanted you to make a train noise.
Oh, okay, I can do the train noise. That's okay.
I didn't want you to make the train guy.
Okay, I thought that's what you were asking me for.
No, I was gonna ask you to throw some coal in that fire and get this train out of here.
This has been a presentation from the Wasted Robot Network. For more information and links to other shows, please visit www.wastedrobotrecords.com/podcasts.